Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today we have a challenge to complete, and that is to collect 20 plants in this bin. I'll probably need more bins in this, and just get them out of my house. Honestly, if it was more than 20 plants, that would be ideal, but 20 is the goal that I set for myself. Tomorrow is our live sale, so me, Charmaine, and Jing are going live on Jing's Instagram and doing a live sale. So this is kind of like my live sale prep, but also I want to be able to go through my tent and maybe like just make some hard decisions on letting go of some plants that I'm just keeping. I kind of like it, but it doesn't bring me as much joy as it needs to be to like justify staying in my tent because it is so full. And honestly, editing down my collection is a chore I dread and I don't want to do, not because it's tedious, it's because I love these plants so much. And like if you're in my tent, that means I really like you. And also I need to make hecka space for all these berries that are in the future. So right now Jing is in the middle of harvesting 2 sets of berries. So on her King of Spades, not on her King of Spades, Dark Phoenix. Her Dark Phoenix, we pollinated it with my King of Spades on one flower, and then my Pap RA5 on the other flower, and the seeds, half of them are ready. And another reason is because I'm going to IAS in like less than 2 weeks, and I am not leaving Miami without plants. Like, you're gonna have to drag me out of there. So I have to, first of all, fund said plant purchases and make room for those plants. So I'm making it a little bit easier on myself in that I'm going to allow propagations to count as a plant, but like a propagation, it still takes up a space, right? So we're gonna go through my props, we're gonna go through my seedlings, we're gonna go through my tent, and then we're going to hopefully have more than 20 plants to purge at the end of this video. I honestly don't know if this kind of video that interests you, but it needs to be done. And literally up until like 30 seconds before I turn on the camera, I wasn't even sure what to film today, but yeah, this is gonna get done either way, so it may as well take you along. So starting off somewhat easy, these are a few plants that I know I'm going to sell a few of. So these are seedlings that I made with Charmaine. These are Belle Black Crystal. So Charmaine's Belle crossed with my Black Crystal, which is one of my favorite plants ever. And these are pure papillonatum seedlings. So the mother plant is my Pap RA5, which you guys saw in last week's video if you watched that one. And the pollen parent is this Fort Sherman Ralphlinum, which is really pretty. So I think I want to sell 3 of each tomorrow. So let's just pull it out and just decide which ones to let go of. Starting with the Belle. I am so proud of these little guys. They are growing so well. So I was saying in a previous video that I wanted to do ones that like are quite similar. So I don't need like 5 that look almost identical. And also Charmaine's seem to be growing really round, and mine are very like elongated, like this, and also like this. So she was asking me if you wanted to trade one of my long ones for one of her round ones. And honestly, like I feel like if it comes here, it's gonna start growing narrow, but we'll give it a shot. So ones that I'm definitely not selling are like more the outliers. So this one looks the most different in a lot of ways, and it's growing pretty strong. The emergent leaves are super wavy. Like this one was really wavy. It kind of hardened off a little bit straight, but it's more wavy than the other ones, and the veins are just different. They're thicker. They're more minimal. So I just want to keep this one to see how that one's going to grow out. This one is my like little weird mutated one. I don't know if it's like just blister variegation or also like regular variegation, but it's also quite a lot weaker for that reason. So I'm not selling that for like 2 reasons. I want to see how it grows out, and also because it's like not the strongest plant either, so I don't want to sell that to anyone. There are 2 little stragglers here I'm not selling. I just want to see if I can get them going. But right now they're like way farther behind than the other ones. So I think I'm probably gonna pick 4, and then Charmaine can just grab one out of those 4. So this one is probably one I'll let go of. Maybe this one as well. This one's like the most narrow. I think I'm gonna keep this one because it's the darkest. I don't know if you can tell the difference between the leaf colors, but the one on top here is definitely darker than the other, like basically every other plant from this batch. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. This one is also quite narrow. That's the emergent leaf on that one. I think I quite like this one. So then maybe this one, and then this one. This one's actually like a little rounder. So maybe this one will be one that's sold and not traded with Charmaine. Honestly, when I look at these, I'm just like, I just want to hold on to them a little bit longer, but I have to let go of some. And if I really think about it, we can always do this cross again because Charmaine's Brielle is constantly flowering. My crystallinum is not constantly flowering, but I think once it reestablishes itself and kind of recovers in the root system, it's going to be growing a lot faster. So this is always like a possibility again in the future. I just need to be less precious with these. I did not sweep the floor before I started filming, but these are the ones I'm letting go of, I think. Just so cute. Look how crisp and clean those veins are. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then these are my keepers. This is not part of this batch. This is a Ace of Spades crossed with Beveb and Talakii Oliver. This is just a little prop that Charmaine gave me, but I didn't have anywhere to put it, so I put it in here. I forgot to say that one of the challenges of getting rid of plants right now is that I'm really just limited to my tent and my prop boxes because those are the only spots that haven't seen pests. And I can pretty safely say are pest free right now. But honestly, the pest management, it's going as well as I can hope. The beneficials inside of my exos are doing their thing. And then the daily spraying for flat mites out here has been going really well. It hasn't really been burning the leaves. I've been spraying the emergent leaves and they're not burning or crisping, but it hasn't been enough time for me to say it's like pest free or as pest free as you can hope. I want things to be able to grow with new leaves that don't have mite damage. Like this one, for example, which I'm not selling because I really love it, this HU Red Crystal. This new leaf came out without any visible mite damage, which is awesome. But anyway, 4 down, 16 more to go. So these are the paths which are also growing like crazy. They are so vigorous, which is amazing to see. It's good to know that like the RA5 is a really strong mom. So this one I'm really just selecting for size. So I don't want to give anyone or sell off like obviously not this little runt or the smallest one. So I want to be able to size this one up a little bit more first. But look at the size up on this one. It hasn't even been that long since I harvested these seeds, but it's sizing up really well. And this is the newest leaf. This is my biggest one. I'm probably going to keep this one, but we'll choose 3 more that's like more of like the median size. So I think I want to sell this one. That one's very cute. I also need to label these soon. This one is also very, very cute. All of these seem to be leaning a little bit more to the Fort Sherman Ralphinum. It's not as like round as my RA5. But honestly, like the RA5 didn't really start getting round until it was quite big, and I just don't have the space to be growing these out to maturity. So at least for now, they're a little bit pointier than the RA5, which honestly is pretty interesting because typically with Anthurium crosses, the mom usually dominates a little bit more. It honestly depends on the species, but since they're both paps, I expected the RA5 to show more in the final hybrid, but they all seem to be looking more like the Fort Sherman Ralphinum. And then we just need one more. This one is a really fresh leaf. It looks chlorotic. It's going to harden off a little bit more like this. Maybe this one, or maybe this one, or this one with the really peachy emergent leaf. Maybe this one. Maybe I'll do this one. So those are my 3 paps. Should I do more? Honestly, these ones are a little smaller. I wanted to do them all about the same size, but this one has the most colorful emergent leaf, so maybe I want to hold on to that one. Maybe I will bring this one as well. So I will sell 4. But this one's the darkest one. You know what? It's fine. I can make more. I can always make more. So now I have some more space in this bin. In the very, very meantime, if I need this bin for props, I can use it for props because it'll be isolated from pests. So that's 8. No, it's 7. It's 8 in this box, but one of them I'm trading with Charmaine, so I'm going to get one back, so that doesn't count. This bin is like very old seedlings that aren't as vigorous as these ones and also like have been growing in the tiniest pot for the longest time, so they're not going to size up. But this one I did upsize. So this one is like just a very basic Anthurium hybrid. So this mag right here is like an Indo mag, kind of a very mag heavy hybrid. That one crossed with my very like my favorite, one of my favorite Forgetti Eyes is like the really black one with the silver. I'll just show you. Dang it. I had just watered it, so I didn't want to lift it, but this one is the Poland parent. So they have been growing in this box with a lid on, and this is the result. So this is going to be a real cheap one, but this one is the one that I did upsize into a larger pot. It is like ready for a repot already, but it's been growing really short because it's with like height limitations essentially. So I'm going to sell this one. I also have that Forgetii open pollinated, which I honestly feel like they're showing up more like selves of that plant. I didn't pollinate it and it just grew berries, but I'm going to show you a few from that batch and you let me know if you think they're also selves. So there's this one, which I just recently uppotted and it's been rooting out. Like there's all these roots down here. This one, maybe I could sell. It's not very pretty. So these are not going to be expensive. Doug is yelling at someone downstairs. There are two in this batch that are struggling to size up because they're in the tiniest pots, but they're quite interesting. So there's this one. They're like little needle leaves. Maybe I'll sell one of these. And then there's also this one, which is like, look at that new leaf. It's also like a little dark needle with one single silver midrib. I honestly think like of everything in this batch, I'm just gonna keep one. So of these two, which one am I gonna keep? I honestly don't know, but I'm leaning more towards this one just because if it's just that very minimal silver, it's so tiny. So it's like, it's just a shot in the dark, but right now it's like one very bold silver vein, whereas this one has like the forking silver. So maybe I'll keep this one and then sell this one. I actually need to be labeling these as I go because I will never remember. They're separated in the bin, but once I have it out, they're gonna get all mixed up. So this one is Forgetii Silver X Open. Okay, actually, if I think about it, I need to just purge this entire bin. Like I'm not keeping them all. So why am I keeping this whole bin? And also like, I don't have anywhere else for them to grow. So they're just sitting in this bin on the floor. These are the decisions that I find really stressful when I'm presented with a decision between either like putting in the effort and the space and the time to like glow it back up or just toss them because they're not growing that well. But the same could be said for this one that I'm keeping, which is teeny tiny, but it's interesting, you know? I think what I'll do is I'm gonna just separate a few to sell and I'm just gonna toss the rest of them because they're just not like strong, healthy plants that people should be growing, even if it was for free. Every cell in my body wants me to just put it back there and decide later, which is what I've been doing for the past, I don't know, 3-4 months, and I just haven't got around to doing anything about it. I don't think I'm gonna keep these. Yeah, I think we're gonna say goodbye to these seedlings that aren't doing anyone any good. I'm just gonna keep this one little weirdo guy. Okay, next, I've gotta go through my domes. These are like cuttings of plants that I can actually show the mother plant for. So there's a whole bunch in here that are ready. First up, I am going to, oh, it's a little bit bleached, but it's very cute. So this is my contaminated Carla. I'm just gonna swing you around here. Where are you? Oh, here you are. This guy. This beautiful thing that was sold as a pure Carla from NSC Tropicals, but it was contaminated with something. But whatever it was contaminated with obviously was very cute because I love this plant immensely. That was like the worst way to show you the mother plant. I'm just gonna pop a photo here. So everything in this box is a little bit light bleached, which I can either like put a piece of parchment paper over the light to kind of diffuse it a little bit. Or I could swap it out with a less strong light. It's not even a strong light, it's a 10 watt Barina. But I do feel like having a stronger light for props will make them wake up faster and grow a little bit quicker. And then once you take it out of the light or like get it a little bit farther away from the light, it starts to darken up a bit more. So I don't doubt that that's what's gonna happen with this one. So you can see a little bit of chlorosis between the veins, but that's honestly going to go away. It's been rooting well in this pot and it's grown 3 leaves since I chopped it. So this one's ready to go. It's already pushing out another leaf. It's been growing really fast. So this one, I'm not going to sell this one. I'm going to let it grow another leaf that's not bleached, but this is Spider Ralph Band. Again, I'll just pop a photo here of Spider Ralph Band. So it's Spider Bess crossed with Ralph Lynham Port Sherman. I have 2 props. The other one is not really as bleached, like it didn't get yellow on the edges, but it will start darkening up now that I take it out of the dome and it's away from such bright light. And I'm just gonna grow another leaf out of this and hope the next leaf doesn't look like this. But honestly, the roots are really healthy. Where are they? Here. really healthy fuzzy roots. There's all these roots coming out the top. So I'm not worried about it. I don't want to sell this one right now. This one, I honestly wanted to wait a little bit longer and get it a little bit bigger before selling, but this is Carla Lux. I have the mother plant right here. I am so weirdly obsessed with this right now. I don't even like the Lux hybrid thing. We've been so inundated with Lux hybrids, but this one, I don't know, I just really like it. So this is a mother plant. It's from Amanda, but I believe this was bred by Paul Marcellini. It's just, is it showing up how dark it is on the view? Not really, but it does have a really special like blackish, like that Carla blackish tint. It's kind of blue toned. I know the leaf shape will change quite a bit, but this leaf I really like because of how fat it is on the top and then how long it tapers on the bottom. I moved this to like a slightly shadier spot, either that or maybe like a leaf grew above it that kind of shaded it a bit more, but it's been darkening up slowly over time and I've been obsessed with this plant. So in the name of funding some reckless IAS purchase, I'm going to sell this prop. Another really cute one that I don't know the idea of is this one. It's a little cutting. I'll show you them. I think I can show you the mother plant. These are basically two growth points that like this one was a little bit farther behind, but it came off of the same stem as this plant, which just kind of really took off after I separated it. But this is the plant. I don't know what it is. I got it from my friend Jose. Look how dark that leaf is. He got it from someone named Becky in Anthurium Addicts. I don't know if you guys know her. If you're in the group, I'm sure you know her. And I don't think it was the no ID when he got it, but he does not remember what it was. But it's definitely got pap in it. Look at that pinky purple backside. This was the leaf prior and is still holding on to a bit of that red. I don't know what it is, but it is a very, very vigorous plant and it's grown so quickly. So I like this plant a lot. I just don't know what it is. The back of that leaf honestly is so much pinker than any of my papillamnums. Like that's crazy. It's such a pretty like berry toned abaxial. So I really like this plant. I just don't know what it is, but there's a prop ready of it and it's very adorable. Once these roots reach the substrate and start rooting down and start pulling up nutrients, it's gonna start speeding up like this one. But I want these plants shipped while they're very small to keep the cost low and the packaging minimal. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 2 pure BVEP props in here of my favorite BVEP. The one that I think is from Paul, this one. I got it from Amanda, but she says it's from Paul. And these 2 are getting absolutely annihilated by grow lights. So I do need to move them somewhere darker. So what I want to do is I want to clear some space in the tent, sell something, and then move these into the tent rather than the prop box where they're so close to light. But look at that. Look at that. Look at this. This is the better of the 2, believe it or not. This is the newest leaf. It's just struggling a lot. And I don't find BVEPs that easy. It's certainly hard to get like the wetness of the substrate and the light dialed in. I haven't figured it out quite yet, but the other one is, look at this. It looks like a Hoya tequila sunrise or something. Yeah, it's bad, but it is rooting. It looks like it's dead, but it is rooting actively. So I'm gonna take this out of the prop box and I'm gonna put it in my tent once we clear some space. And then now my dome is this big, and of everything here, everything is going to eventually be for sale. They're just not quite ready yet, except for this one. This one's a little stump of Charmaine's Ace of Spades, which she's been having trouble with. So she was like, if you watched her video, I believe would have gone up yesterday when you watched this, I think, depending on if she was able to get it edited in time. We did plant chores at her house and one of the chores was for me to just take this and rehab it for her. It had some root rot, so I've cleaned it up and I downsized the pot quite a bit. It's just in tree fern. So I am determined to get this like growing and established, and I want her to have just like the oh, you guys can't see, just the joy of an Ace of Spades that looks like that. Like she needs to experience that joy. So that one's gonna rehab in here for a while. I also have this Carla Wu 2 that's working on its first leaf. Woohoo! Carla Wu 1. It's got 2 active growth points. Oh my gosh, it's dripping. 1 growth point just put out this leaf that is looking a little bit more Carla. Once it starts rooting out to the substrate, it's going to start speeding up like everything else. This one, oh, it actually has started rooting into substrate from both growth points. So when it gets a little bit more established, I'm going to separate these two. I will sell them. Like, oh no, one is for Charmaine, one is for sale. This is a BVEP chonk that is sleeping. She's slumbering, and I don't know if she'll ever wake up. So now the dome looks like this. More space for cuttings, which I plan to take some more cuttings in the very near future. I haven't even done a count yet, but I'm pretty sure we're getting close to 20. One more dome to go. This one does have personal plants in it. Not sure how many plants we're going to get out of this one, but look at this. It's so cute. My Alocasia watsoniana is back. I did give another cutting to Charmaine as safekeeping. So, well, I mean, it's hers now, but it's like a little backup in case this one dies, because this is my finickiest Alocasia. Like, she's happy, she's not, she's happy, she's not. So that's definitely not up for sale. This one though is. This one is Wenlingrai, believe it or not. It's got the most beautiful bed of moss. This one reanimated from, I'm guessing it was the tree fern, maybe? It's in tree fern soil, but it's not going to be an expensive one. It's just like, I want someone to experience how cute this moss is. This one's from my original big fat Wenli with like a very waxy leaf. So it's definitely very different from like the NSC Wenlingerai, very different from the Woohoo Wenlingerai. It's different from Charmaine's JV Wenlingerai. This is an ace or green form ace of spades chunk that's also probably going to be sleeping forever. I just cannot wake this thing up. It's been forever since I cut that thing. The ace BVEP that I chopped somewhat recently, I gave 2 cuttings away. I gave one to my friend Andrea and I gave one to Charmaine. I kept the diciest one in that it had like one tiny little root and it's not awake yet, but it still seems firm. Oh, I'm going to probably sell this one. I would love to grow it a bit more, but I will just sell it as is. This is Queen of Hearts. Mother plant is literally right there. Yeah, this one is not that hard to get in the States. It's actually quite easy to get in the States, but I think in Canada, you don't see it that often. It's not an expensive plant, but it's kind of hard to get here. I've been contemplating about this plant for like the past month and I don't know if I'm gonna keep it. So this one is Green Soul by Equigenera. So it's Forgetii Bess. And I really like the veins on this one. Like it's got this like beautiful star-shaped veins. The last leaf is a little bit small. It does need an upsize, but I don't want to upsize it if I'm going to sell it. So I have to just decide right now if I'm going to sell it. I got this as a little stump from Charmaine. She wanted like insurance, I guess, on her plant because she had imported it. She cut 2 cuttings off. She gave one to Jing. She gave one to me. Her mother plant, I just saw the other day, is like very well rooted in leca. And while I really enjoy this plant at this size, I think when it gets big, I'm not going to know what to do with it. And I just don't have the space to grow large anthuriums like willy-nilly. Like I have to be very selective about which ones I grow to like a large size. So I think I'm going to sell this one, but this cup cracked. So I'm going to just quickly transfer over to the like identical cup. I think it should come out in one piece. By the way, Charmaine has already given me her blessing to sell this one. Let's see if we can get it out in one piece. This cup is disintegrating. Look, it's cracking in like 5 spots. I'm trying to keep the substrate in the same shape so it'll just kind of land right into the new cup. Come on. Come on. Yes. No root loss. I'm just gonna pop you right down. There we go. And with a fresh new cup, pop the tag back in. It saddens me to sell this, but if I think about it logically, once it's big, I don't have space for it, and I don't think I would breed with it. So hopefully it can make someone else really happy. But look at how cute these little pink sinuses are. Look how pinky it looks. It is kind of reminiscent of Carla Venation, but just way more sparkly and not the same color as a Carla, but it's very, very cute. So this is the bin so far. It's full, plus I have these, plus another plant. So we're doing good. All right, the part that I've been dreading the most. So this is the spot that I'm thinking the little BVEP, the struggling BVEP props would go somewhere here because it'll be way farther away from the light than it was in the dome. And there's at least one plant here that I know I can sell. I find it's kind of helpful to like focus on one plant, ask myself if I want to keep it, and then move on to the rest, kind of like a little plant tour. So starting in the back, the red crystal, definitely not getting rid of that. Pap RA5 Swamp Bunny. This one has been so much happier in tree fern soil versus pond. So I'm definitely keeping that. That one is a Amanda special. This one is, oh, really don't want to damage that new leaf. This one is Red Crystal crossed with Portier from Amanda. It's her hybrid. So we had two specimens. This one is the cutting of Charmaine's, which is actually, we think, a prettier specimen. It's a little bit more, I don't know, just like thin veined, kind of a bit rounder, nicer. Like it has this pebbly texture. So I'm really happy to have this one. So I'm definitely not getting rid of that. Oh, what happened here? There's a big puddle of water. So the plant I think I'm gonna get rid of because I have two props is Ace of Spades crossed with Carla Blackie. So I think I'm gonna sell this one. So this plant we got from Woohoo Tropicals. Charmaine has the mother plant. She gave me a stump of it and then it grew 2 growth points, and these are the resulting 2 plants out of those 2 growth points. So these are clones. They're genetically identical, but this one has that like weird kind of variegation looking thing, and it just popped a new leaf. I think I will keep this one for myself, and then this one I will sell tomorrow. It also just popped a new leaf. The veins look really pink on it. It has been rooting since the repot. I did do this on camera, so we'll pull this one for sale. It is already tagged, which is great. This one I'm not selling, but I'm wondering if it needs to grow in the tent. But this one is like, it was unmarked. So right now it's a no ID. It's from Amanda. So she said like once it grows bigger, she will be able to identify it. She says it's possibly like either crystallinum or a Magchris selfling, or like a prop of a Magchris selfling. I don't think it's a crystallinum because the petioles, there is a slight angle to them, like on one side. I just don't think this is crystallinum. So it must be like a Magchris selfling, possibly, or Meg hybrid selfling, one of the two. It did pop another leaf, so it's only a matter of time before we can identify it. I just don't know if it was growing in there because it was recovering from some cold damage in the male, but I can see some roots all the way to the bottom, so maybe this one can move out. I'm gonna move this out of my exo, which we're not purging it, but at least we're making room in the tent. Carlas are definitely staying. These are my 2 little baby Carlas, which are way slower than my Woohoo Carlas. So this one is from Rory. So this one's RA1 crossed with RA16. So this one was like maybe the second last or the last seedling of the whole batch. So it was definitely the smallest. So the way Rory was selling it was like largest to smallest, like first come, first serve. So I got there at the very, very end and got this one with my Palm Street credits. So it's beautiful, really dark, but very slow. So my guess is just like weaker from the batch, but I'm also wondering if I should repot it and get it into something more nutritious, because if you guys will recall, this one is half Rory's mix and half my tree fern soil. And I don't know if he had a bunch of charcoal in his mix. It was really hard to tell. It looked like orchiata, but sometimes those like really small charcoal pieces kind of look like orchiata because it's all wood essentially, right? So charcoal can bear a very strong resemblance to orchiata. I just don't know if the charcoal is leaching too many nutrients from this plant. So I have a small urge to pot it into like my mix with a lot of worm castings and no charcoal. We'll think about it. Not today, but we'll think about it. This is my RA8 self. This is from Buzz Plants. This one I moved out of the prop box and it's gotten so much darker. If you guys will recall, the color of the leaves were like this, like a very bright green, very not Carla-y. And then in the tent, much farther away from the light, this is what it looks like. The new leaf, unfortunately, got a little bit stunted because it pushed out and then I realized it was bone dry. So I watered it a little bit too late and the resulting leaf is a little bit small. Oops. But these ones are definitely like a little bit slower than my Woohoo Carlas, but they're not going anywhere. Same as this one. Oh my goodness, this leaf is so cute. This one is Ace Carla, but it's a different seed batch to this one. So this one's from Woohoo. This one is from Amanda, which I believe she got from Juan. I know it's definitely not her hybrid because she only bred her Ace of Spades this year. So she wouldn't have had plants out of that batch yet. And this one is like a tiny little prop for my friend Andrea. But this leaf, the veins are starting to come out. I'm so excited. I remember the mother plant having the prettiest like pinky veins. Because I'm pretty sure the Carla used in this was the GPH, Juan's Carla. So this plant is not going anywhere. My Carla Black Widow Michelle also not going anywhere. I also think I got to this batch a little late. Like I got a plant way later than other people because I see other people with like plants from this batch and they're freaking huge. They're like this size, at least this size. So mine is straggling a little bit, but it is everything I wanted and more. Like it's black, it's showing like signs of possibly having the Black Widow Michelle veins. So this Pat Port is going to be chopped very soon, but I'm not getting rid of it. I believe this one was bred by Teo. If you guys know Teo, he bred Mr. Worldwide, but this one was a plant that I got from Amanda. So this was a stump very recently and it pushed out 2 growth points. So it was like a bushy plant. I chopped the top off and sold that, and then the resulting leafless stump turned into this very quickly. And it's funny because this is probably like way bigger than even the top that I chopped off, like in terms of leaf size. So there's this growth point, and also this is a separate growth point. So I want to separate these into 2 separate plants and sell. So I guess at the next live sale, not this one. My little Dark Phoenix self is looking really overexposed right now, but it's got moved to pond. Let's see how the roots are doing. I don't think it's really rooting out in the pond. I moved it to pond because it wasn't sizing up for me in tray fern soil. I guess this root right here next to my thumb is active, but in my experience, like with my original Dark Phoenix, if I moved it to pond or like repotted it into a bigger glass vessel, I would see roots in a day. But this one's not rooting as well, but it did pop a leaf since the transition, and the petiole is much taller than everything else, so maybe it's gonna size up. So I guess out of all of these plants, they're all going back in with the exception of these 2. So the Ace Carla and this little no ID. So this one is gonna go into my EXO. This one will be for sale. It's really nice to pull everything out every now and then because then I can like make a mental list of plant chores. So that one needs to be upsized severely. This one needs to be separated. Nothing needs to happen with that one. Also, nothing needs to happen with this one. Maybe I want to put it here so I can see it better. Carla's up front where I can monitor. So then now I have a tiny bit of space so I can put the bee veps right here. They look so stinking sad, but hopefully this is the lighting conditions they need to start growing better. So this is my King of Spades red crystal from Dania. Look how round, I can't. It's a puffball and I am obsessed with this leaf. Every leaf is very round, don't get me wrong, but this is like the roundest by far. I am obsessed with this plant, not getting rid of it. This is Midnight Velvet from Owen. This is the new leaf. I am eagerly waiting to see if it will darken. I actually feel like with increasing the feed, it's like marginally darker than before, but it still has a little bit of chlorosis between the veins. So I keep increasing the feed of my TPS1 and I'm not letting it dry out. I'm letting it sit in a little bit of reservoir. Oh, the reservoir's gone, but it's very, very wet right now. It's like super heavy. And it also doesn't get a ton of light. Like this leaf faces the tent door, so it doesn't get direct light from like the grow light here. So I don't think it's light related. I think it's more feed related, but it does grow really fast. Like it's constantly putting out leaves. It is kind of early to tell with this leaf, but I do know that this leaf is not as black as Owen's leaves. So I don't know. Oh, back here is a plant that I don't think, have I showed this to you? This one is Ace of Purple crossed with Papillamnum. So this is bred by Tyler, a Russo plant. But this was just a seedling that Amanda shared with us. It is growing really well. It does need to upsize soon. It did lose a bunch of roots from cold damage, but it has bounced back so well. This plant is so vigorous. It probably does not even need to live in the tent. To be honest, if I repot into a bigger pot, I probably will just like move it out of the tent. I'm not sure, but it's very cute. It's very minimal veins. So that one is staying. Everything back here is definitely staying. My Chris Carla, I just used the pollen on a couple of plants. Pap RA5. I mean, they don't need to stay in this space, but I'm not selling them, getting rid of them. Meg Kuna also staying. Carla Wutu obviously is going to be staying. Just waiting patiently for a new leaf on her. Ace of Spades crossed with Eastern Dressleri also staying. Spider Ralph Man also staying. I am selling props of that. X1 is a plant I'm keeping, but will probably be chopped soon. Like, it grows so stinking fast. Like, this leaf just finished hardening and then it's got a new leaf coming out. Everything here is also staying. My beautiful contaminated Carla, as I call it. Carla Wu 1, Fort Sherman Ralph Lynam. I cannot tell with this camera because it's a gimbal. Sometimes I can't tell where it's pointing at. That's some other plant of the Pap hybrid I show you, which I'm keeping, at least for the time being. Green form Ace of Spades. This plant is pretty challenging, so I don't know if I'll keep it forever, but at least right now I'm gonna keep it. Anything up here? This is Red Crystalina, Wu 5 by Wu 8. It does have very pink veins, but as usual, it doesn't really show up the true color on camera, but I really love that really pebbly texture on this one. This one, I probably will not have space to grow this large, but this one was a gift from my friend Anna. I might see if she wants it back, but it's very cute. I don't have a ton of space, but this one is like a blue velvet crossed with crystallinum. I seem to recall somebody who got this seed, and I don't know if it was Anna, that theirs not growing, but this one's growing really well, and it like desperately needs an upsized pot, like it's in a 3-inch pot. So maybe she wants to have this one if hers isn't growing. Forgetty Eye Carla is obviously a keeper. This one's Red Crystallinum Wu 5 Self, also a keeper. This one is like sizing up really well. This one's probably the fastest growing Red Crystallinum that I got from Woohoo, but it's probably the least red. But there is pink in the veins. It's just really hard to show it on camera. Diablo Ents is obviously staying. Dark Phoenix is staying. Oh, I forgot about you. Can I get you out? My Alocasia Frydek. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's talk about you. First of all, there's a spider living in here. It's made a little spider's web. And this just goes to show like how little I care for this plant ever since it started growing like almost all white leaves. I mean, some pure white leaves. It will not grow and it will not hold on to leaves. I'm definitely, at the very least, chopping off the top. It used to grow so well with the most prettiest like balanced variegation, which is why I'm thinking like it could be saved by chopping the top off and going back down. But it's not like this is a plant where it shows like striping of variegation in the stem, but it's also like really wobbly in this pot, which leads me to believe that it doesn't have really any roots. So I think, well, I'm getting it out of my tent for sure. I might chop the top off, salvage whatever roots I have, and just have it in like a stratomy pond mix in a cup, stick it in a prop bin. If it grows back with nice balanced variegation, I will keep it. If it comes back like this, it's going in the garbage. Okay, back up top. This is a plant that I think I'm gonna sell. It's so long. I don't know even how to package or ship this thing. So maybe this is gonna have to be like a local thing, but this is Anthurium obtusum narrow-form. So this is a bunny plant. She selfed her obtusum narrow-form. It's just like, I don't think I have the space to grow something like this, and it severely needs a repot. And once it's repotted, I will not have space for it. So I think I might have to sell it as is. Carla Bevep, obviously staying. I love this plant. HU Rare Crystal, one of my 4 HU Rare Crystals, but I love this one. The new leaf sized up so well. Do you see that size difference? It's been doing really well since the import, so that's great. Another Carla Bevep, this one is from Woohoo. Also love this one. This one grows actually faster than this Carla Bevep. Bigfoot Self, I think I was on the fence about this plant for a little bit until this leaf, and I was like, okay, you know what? The little red sinus and like the texture, it just doesn't look anything like the silvery Anthurium that I have, so I'm gonna keep her. I was also on the fence about this HU Red Crystal. So this one is from Cartel, and I've been struggling with it, but I kind of decided, hold on, my camera does not want to focus, that I'm going to keep it because I think I can save it. I think there is something wrong here, but I think if I could like glue it back up, it's gonna be really pretty. So I'm gonna keep that. And this will just be a subject of a future repot video probably. This one is Fort Sherman Ralph Lynam crossed with Dress Carla, which has been growing amazingly. This is the newest leaf. The Carla veins are starting to come out a little bit. So I'm really excited to see what that one ends up looking like. I think it can do with less light to get a little bit darker. And this one is Gerald Best crossed with Woohoo's First Night. Also not going to get rid of that. That one is a Amanda hybrid. This is Anthurium Woohoo's First Night. So this is Amanda's. So Woohoo's First Night is a batch name. So everything from that batch was named Woohoo's First Night. So a lot of Woohoo's First Nights look different. This is Amanda's, and I realized it had put out this leaf, and I did not realize how big it had gotten, but it's huge compared to this one. I don't know if you can tell. It is definitely, if I pull it around, you can kind of see the size difference here. But I'm gonna let it harden off back there where there's less light. Hopefully it'll get dark. Oh, and I forgot about these ones. So there's my Begonia Labersii, which I chopped so many cuttings off recently. So it looks like a little, I don't know, just like sad little sticks right now. So this is a mother plant. I have like, I don't know, maybe 10 cuttings, possibly more, rooting in water. I'm not super motivated to get it out of this spot just because like it's so dark. Like this is what it looks like. There's no light above it. It's kind of shaded. So not a lot of things can grow there, which is why I have nothing next to it. It's just empty spot. Dark Phoenix, Fort Sherman Ralph Lynam. I'm keeping this for sure. It's one of the nicer ones from this batch, I feel like, but I will cut it soon because this thing grows like crazy. It roots really fast. The props wake up like instantaneously. It's been very fun to propagate, so I will propagate this soon. Anthurium debile. Honestly, like if I try to ship this, it will die in transport. I'm almost certain. It has kind of like started to attempt flowering, and I'm not sure if I want to like breed with it, but if I miss watering, like not even let it dry out, just let it get not swampy, it will do this. So I'm not motivated to keep it forever, but I just don't know where else it would go. And then lastly, I forgot about this plant. I might sell this one. Switching back to the main camera because my my little gimbal camera is awesome, but because there's like so much going on with it, like all the camera movements and stuff, it heats up really quickly. So something to keep in mind. You can't film like super long videos with this in like one go. So this is Anthurium Warocqueanum Esmeralda. This one is a prop from Charmaine's plant, and it can honestly use a repot, but if I'm selling it, I'm not repotting it. This is like a dupe for a not a dark form queen, but not really a green form queen either, but it has, when it gets mature, it has the shape of a Warocqueanum. The only thing is like it doesn't have such prominent venation. It's a very muted venation, but it has those like ears. It's really elongated and it's way easier going than a queen. So I feel like queens, like once you get it acclimated to ambient, it will be pretty easy, but getting it there can be a bit of a journey. But with this, it kind of just does it. Like you can acclimate it to ambient pretty quickly. So anyway, I think I'm gonna bring this to the sale, and if Charmaine wants it back, because I don't know if her mother plant is still alive, but if she wants it back, she can take it. Otherwise, it'll be for sale. She gave this to me because she had purchased one and she propagated it. So she cut the chunk off. This is the chunk off her like big imported plant. And I had recently killed mine by putting it into Killer Pond. So Killer Pond was a batch of pond I had made. Like I kind of mixed other things into it and I put so much Osmocote slow release fertilizer in it that everything that I planted in that mix either died or got severely crispy and all the roots fried off. So I was like kind of sad about it, but if I think about it hard enough, this is one of those plants that grows really stemmy. So you either have to keep like building up the substrate or put it on a moss pole. So I think long term it's not going to be my cup of tea, but at least right now it's giving Pallidiflorum. It's definitely not as Warocqueanum Esmeralda, and it's quite an easygoing one. And it is a beautiful anthurium. That's why it's like survived so many purges. I just need to make some hard decisions of plants. Like I said, I'm getting rid of plants that I actually really quite like. And then last plant that I'm not ready to let go of now because I do need to, I don't know, get it growing a little bit stronger is this Dark Phoenix, Ralph Lauren, Fort Sherman. So this is the second one that I got from Cartel. This one was my favorite one from that whole shipment, but I don't need two. Even though they're from different seed batches, I don't need two. And this one that I have right here, like my original one, is such a robust and strong grower, and it's got such nice like mix of Dark Phoenix and Ralph Lauren, Fort Sherman. This one looks so different, which was why I really like it, but I'm contemplating selling this one once I get it a bit more established. I mean, it is really rooted in here, but I think it's mixed with like, yeah, it definitely is mixed with like rotted roots. So this one will definitely be repot somewhat soon into a bigger pot, and I'll like remove all those dead import roots. And we'll see if we can get it growing really nice and strong. It's not really nice and strong right now. The color is really nice on it. The leaf shape is very interesting. It just doesn't look like a really strong plant, and I don't want to sell it like that. So we'll see if we can get it glowed up, which if it does glow up, it'll be even harder to let go of. So I'll have to make that decision later, but this will be on a future repot session for sure. Okay, let's do a final count. I'm only counting plants, by the way, that are like leaving my house entirely. So I'm not counting stuff like the Frydek for now. It might leave my house entirely. I'm gonna attempt to salvage the bottom part of that stem. So of the plants that are being sold tomorrow, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 plants. We hit our goal. I honestly wished it was 30, but 21 is not bad. There is a teeny tiny bit more space in the tent, which then immediately got taken up by those BVEPs, but they will be for sale if I can get them to darken up and those leaves to get growing a little bit better. I honestly don't know if this video is total poo-poo garbage, but at the very least, I accomplished something I really needed to get done, which is like clear that one bin that was on the floor, live sale prep, and those BVEPs that were in the prop box just getting bleached into oblivion were bothering me so badly, but I didn't have anywhere to put them, but now I do. They're just right here now. And then I have all these goodies to sell tomorrow, which makes me feel good. So the only thing I have left to do is get little tags made up for everyone, so everyone has an ING, and then get them all put into a dome with a lid on it so they're protected from pests and they're nice and humid. And then we'll hopefully have a nice fun live sale tomorrow. It's not going to be like a ton of plants, so it's not going to be like the live sales that we did at Northern Tropicals. It's not going to be nearly as many plants, so it's not going to be as much like boom, 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 sale, sale, sale. I hope that it'll be like a fun hangout time. It'll be the three of us with some snacks and some drinks. And if you're able to make it, like it's already in the past at this point when you see this video, but if you were able to make it, that's awesome. But we'll try to do another one definitely after Miami, obviously. Maybe for sure before I go away to the UK. Maybe in like October time, we'll do another one. I'll let you know ahead of time, but I do like live sale previews on my Instagram story. So check my story if you're curious to know what's coming up. But it would be cool to do more seedlings in the future before it gets way too cold to ship. But I'm rambling. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Please wish us luck in getting these actually like sold and shipped out, because I don't want to bring them back in. Oh, by the way, someone did ask me if we will be listing them on Jing's website, like any leftovers from the live sale, and yes, we will. I will link her shop in the description. I don't know if there'll be any leftovers. I mean, I hope I don't have leftovers, but for those who aren't able to make it to the live sale, for your sake, I hope there are. But yeah, I hope your weekend has been lovely and restful. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah!